Hello, I'm Dan Wise, host of Senior Speaks New Hampshire. I'm also a volunteer with AARP New Hampshire, which is a sponsor of this show. I've only been involved with AARP for less than 2 years, but I can genuinely say that it's been a really great experience. I've had time to work on some meaningful things, work with people who are fun, and learn new skills while at the same time using skills that I've already obtained. Today we're going to talk about one of the experiences that AARP offers to its volunteers. And I'll be learning along with you, as I don't really know that much about the program so far. AARP has a speakers bureau and offers speakers for groups around the state on a surprising variety of topics. My guests today to help explore this topic are Jill Martin, an AARP volunteer who is the trainer for Speakers Bureau in New Hampshire, and Pam Dube, who is the Associate State Director for Communications for AARP New Hampshire. Welcome to both of you.
Hi, Dan.
Hey, Pam, my first question is for you. Can you tell us a little bit about what the Speakers Bureau is and why AARP has a Speakers Bureau? What function does it play?
Absolutely. Yes. So AARP has embraced having a Speakers Bureau for a very important reason. Here, the work we do in the state revolves around 3 different things: advocacy, community outreach, and education. And the Speakers Bureau is at the top of the list for education at AARP New Hampshire. Our Speakers Bureau is a bureau made up of volunteers from around the state. They go out and they speak to all different kinds of organizations on a variety of topics throughout the year. We also present virtually, if that works best for the location asking for the presentation. And all of the presentations are free, which is really attractive to a lot of places that have large groups of people coming to congregate to do some easy programming that is just free for the attendees.
And they're non-commercial and bipartisan, right? There's no
Nonpartisan.
other agenda
Nope,
that's
nope.
beyond
That's right.
AARP.
Our topics all focus on issues that are of interest to people who are 50 plus and their families. And actually, many of our topics that we present on contain relevant information for all ages.
Oh, that's great. So now, Jill, why don't you give us some information about how you got involved in AARP to begin with, and how you ended up working with the Speakers Bureau.
Sure. I arrived as a new New Hampshire resident in 2019. The timing was not great for what was coming and the shutdown, but I got it. I just was starting to explore AARP offerings, and then, of course, we went into the virtual world shortly after that spring. And one of the things that the Speakers Bureau did was transition to doing a lot of online programming. And so I thought, okay, I'm game, I'll jump on. And that was a really good way to learn a lot about the programs and kind of stick my toe in the water about learning about the state.
That's great, good. So what are some of the topics, Pam, why don't you tell us what the topics are? Is there kind of a changing list, or is it kind of a set menu, but then with some added things along the way?
We have a menu of about 12 presentations at any given time. Some of them come and go, some of them are perennial favorites, and they cover a variety of topics. We have a couple different presentations about fraud, which is, at a crisis level in the state. So our fraud presentations are the most popular presentations. They get requested the most. We have a presentation about caregiving, about downsizing and decluttering your home, about making your home, about making changes in your home so it ages with you. It's called Home Fit.
Age at home.
We are super excited that we have a great relationship with the American Red Cross, and so we also present a preparedness essentials presentation from the Red Cross that help people plan, for before, during, and after an emergency. Just in the next month or so, we are going to be doing another Red Cross presentation on home fires, which is another one that I think will be a very high interest topic for people. We have a presentation on how to stay safe online. And in addition to our traditional Speakers Bureau programs that we offer, AARP also offers a few presentations that have to do with driver safety, which is kind of a different division than ours, but they're all included on the menu of offerings and are available to nonprofits, corporations, any place in the state that would like to request a presentation.
So now, if someone wanted to get involved in that, what preparation is needed? What kind of person could be looking at something like that? Jill, that's as a trainer, that's
Sure.
in your ballpark.
Well, I think first of all, it needs to be someone who's comfortable before an audience and comfortable speaking, because it does involve public speaking. And then it might be someone who had some experience in the past with that public speaking role. Like, we have a lot of teachers. It might be somebody who had some experience in their business community. Those are all helpful. My own experience was a retail small business owner, and that involved a lot of interaction with the public. So that all is very helpful to have in your background, that you have a comfort level.
Yeah. Now, I do know, one thing I do know is that it's kind of a team for each program. There's sort of a team assembled, and there are different, if you are not ready to be Dale Carnegie out there, is there still a place for you in the Speakers Bureau? How does that work?
You want me to take that one? Or
Sure.
Okay. So we do not require you to have any prior experience or in-depth knowledge of the topics. That is all something that we work with you on to get you comfortable. And we do that in a bunch of different ways that I know Jill will talk about as a trainer. But the main thing that we're looking for is someone who really is passionate about not only speaking in front of an audience, but helping people to learn about these topics, which is why teachers do really great in the Speakers Bureau. There is a great level of understanding that people walk away with after they've been to one of our presentations. And then we always give them handouts and more information after if they want to learn more. So, we give them kind of a baseline, get them started with the information they need to know, and then leave them with the tools to take it from there.
But is there, if there's a program, is there one person, or is there kind of a team approach to this?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because yes, we do it as teams. So we usually have two people. We have the presentation comes as a slide deck, and so and it's usually as a PowerPoint, and we have the ability to split that up into sections. So sometimes, with two people, we may do split up into 6 sections. We may do half and half. It's up to the presenters entirely. And then in some of our larger presentations, we will have a greeter. Those people would be maybe new to our group, and this is a way for them to get their feet wet and see what this is all about. But the speaking part is important. As Pam says, you don't need to know anything about the material. It is all in the presentation, and that's really helpful for a lot of folks.
I think one of the great things too about having people co-present is that you get to know all of the other members of the Speakers Bureau really well. You kind of become a little family in the Speakers Bureau.
Yeah.
And Jill may be presenting with someone in February, but then may not present with that person again for another few months. But then when they reconnect, hey, here we are again,
Yeah.
presenting together. So the reason why it works out like that is because I always talk about the Speakers Bureau being kind of a choose-your-own-adventure type of volunteer opportunity.
Yep.
You know, you can pick which presentations are of most interest to you. You know, you might not know anything about it, but you may be really interested in presenting it. And if you're interested in the material, you're going to do a much better job
Yeah, that's
at
true.
presenting.
Yeah.
And then, you know, people live in different parts of the state, so maybe you don't want to drive all the way up north, but you don't mind driving to the seacoast. So you can pick where you want to present. You know, we have Speakers Bureau members who travel certain months of the year, so they don't present those months, but when they come back, they can present. So it's really what's going to work best for your schedule and what your interests are.
Yeah, that's something I've learned in AARP is that, you know, they have all these things going on, but you decide your level of involvement, and as you said, some people have schedules where they are not going to be, they're not going to be here for, you know, this part of the year, or they just, you know, I guess in your life you have times where you can be more involved in one thing and then in another, and the way I've been really impressed with how the organization kind of rolls with the volunteers, that you don't feel too much of a burden fall on one person
Absolutely.
at a time.
Yeah, I mean, my philosophy on volunteering is, you know, you can walk down any street in New Hampshire and find a dozen organizations to volunteer for. So it needs to be an opportunity that you feel passionate about, that's going to fit with your life, and that's going to be fun. So we try to accomplish all
Yes.
of those
Yeah,
at
that's-
AARP.
I think that's definitely true. So, you know, one of the things that I thought was really, really good is that you do a lot to train people and to kind of prepare them. What are some of the things that you do, Jill, to kind of get somebody up and running when they get a topic?
Well,
they've got a date. Is that how kind of what works? Is it?
they get a topic and they get their team. You get your team member, and so you have a few preliminary conversations with your co-presenter about the material, and then I've put together some training videos that are on our library that help people go through the process, go through the steps. But it's a lot about being comfortable with the material and not necessarily having to memorize it, but be fluid, be comfortable, know what's coming next. Those are all really important aspects.
So now, like, there's one program called 6 Pillars of Brain Health. Now, I'm not a lot of background in that area, in brain physiology or brain surgery. How would you get me comfortable with doing something like that?
So the really nice thing about that particular presentation is that it's all really, since it's broken up into 6 different topics, very common sense approaches to how to live your most healthy life, and that will in turn keep your brain functioning at a higher level if possible, and
Yes.
And so that material is very accessible, the way that it's the format and the presentation.
And actually, that topic is mentioned in one of the training videos that you
That's right.
did, and
Yeah.
and I saw this video, and it really talks about kind of how to interact, what to expect, and how to handle it. And so we're gonna have that video run next. It's just about a 2.5, 3-minute video of Jill kind of giving some pointers about speaking that I think gives an indication of the quality of the preparation that you get with this program. So that'll run next.
This is the 5th video, and it's on your audience. Some presentations encourage audience participation. One I'm thinking of is 6 Pillars of Brain Health. It's one of our most popular programs that asks for audience input at a point in each of the 6 topics that we cover. Usually, the audience is engaged and there are many eager responses, but sometimes there can also be silence when you ask for suggestions. That's okay too, since there's a summary of previous responses included in the presentation. But if this happens, it's a good moment to engage with your co-presenter and turn the presentation into a dialogue with back and forth contributions between the two of you. Audiences seem to enjoy this as well. You might get a very talkative audience member, which can make others in the audience less likely to contribute. As the speaker, you can shift the chance to respond around the group and ask for others to share the floor. It helps you to know that you are in charge of the presentation as the presenter, and you can keep it moving. When responding to questions, try to answer briefly. If you don't know the answer, please say so. This is another place to turn to your co-presenter for a response. And there are several ways to reach out to the AARP New Hampshire State Office that are shared in the program. And we also have cards that we can hand out with contact information on them. Sometimes there are pointed and too specific questions that are asked. Gently moving the program forward with this contact information might help you get past a challenging moment. As presenters, we can rely on the state office staff to be available for specific, detailed responses if needed.
Well, that was great, Jill. I really thought it's short enough that you can really get some takeaways from that, and yet you're not kind of overwhelmed with too much information. Are there some other ways that you prepare folks for their speaking dates?
There are, yeah. We offer the opportunity to do a dress rehearsal, which is great. And we'll do that over Zoom usually, but that gives people a chance to see how they work together and to look at the material. And then we also have the option, particularly for new members, to shadow a presentation. So they can come to a scheduled presentation and see the two presenters and how it all works.
Okay. So I'm going to throw this out there. Has there been any unusual experience doing a speakers bureau, or an unusual group or setting that you've done a program or that you've heard of?
Maybe not completely unusual, but there are always tech issues that seem to arise wherever you are. We did a presentation at one place, and showed up with our projector and PowerPoint and all that, ready to present, and there were no outlets in the room.
Oh, yes.
And there were no extension cords at the place. So that was kind of a weird thing to happen. You just kind of assume most rooms have power outlets. But, in addition to that, we present at a variety of places. We present at libraries and senior centers and senior housing and
Community
centers, some places where different groups hold their meetings at restaurants, and businesses that during the lunch hour do kind of a lunch and learn for their employees.
I have a restaurant, so I went to a program once and it was like an awards program, and it was in this Italian restaurant, and for some reason they had the speaker right in front of the little window where the servers go. So behind it, there was like the kitchen, there was the whole Iron Chef thing going on. They're like throwing pans around and clattering and stuff like that. But I bet that, adversity kind of builds camaraderie, I would think.
It does, and one of the things that we do is we coordinate our presentations as much as possible ahead of time. And I don't know if you want to say a little bit more about that.
So
Jill.
as Pam is mentioning, we work with the host at the site, and we try and go over what material and what options will be available in that room that we'll be in. And we also want to get some ideas from that host on some of the topics we're presenting so that we know what's available locally. If you're going to be presenting downsizing and decluttering, where is the nearest location to donate some of the items that you would be you would be encouraging your audience to be donating. So that means that we communicate before the program and then we communicate afterwards. And the hosts really like that, and that usually has us invited back to the site for maybe another one of our topics.
Do you do any kind of follow-up survey or evals of programs?
We do. Our coordinator, Iris, is also an AARP volunteer, and she is fantastic, kind of doing the soup to nuts of every presentation. And we do have a survey after that we always take into account and make changes or develop trainings if we seem like we're falling short someplace. So that feedback is very valuable. But it all normally starts with an email that comes into AARP, and then Iris will reach out to the site host and just start planning something that is a little bit customized for each location.
Oh, wow. About how many programs do you do a year? Do you?
So last
Average?
year, we did more than 80 presentations across the state. The year before that, we only did 40 as we were coming out of the pandemic. So we do about 80 a year.
Okay.
And total number of attendees at those 80 presentations was more than 1,000 people last year.
Oh, right. Great.
So that's a lot of great information that we're getting out to people who are really interested in learning more.
And you'd like to recharge the volunteer pool a little bit. You'd like to get some more potential speakers.
We would, yeah. I mean, we're here today because we'd really love people to join us and see if this is something they'd be interested in, and we're there to support you along the way. We're getting more and more requests. So instead of having our volunteers get burnt out on satisfying all those requests,
Right.
we'd like to get some more volunteers in the
Sure.
group
Right,
to
great.
join in on the fun.
Okay. Well, hopefully we've been successful at speaking and persuading someone to think about doing this and to contact. So if one of our viewers wants to contact you guys, what's the best way to find out about
The
it?
best way is to send an email. It's super simple email address. It's nh@aarp.org. That's it.
nh@aarp.org.
Correct.
There you go.
Yep.
Okay. I guess another way that sometimes people get involved with AARP is they go to an in-person event or something like that, and there's got to be some things coming up. We're recording this to be broadcast in May of 2024, but looking ahead, say in June when the sun is out and people are wearing short sleeves and sundresses and things like that, are there any in-person opportunities coming up that maybe might be a way for people to find out about Speakers Bureau or some of the other programs that AARP offers?
Yeah, I started this show talking about the 3 different things that we do, and community outreach is definitely part of that triad. And in June, we have a series of ice cream events coming up with the title of Put the Freeze on Fraud. So if you
fraud,
are
going back to fraud
yes,
as a topic.
And fraud, like I said, one of our perennial favorite topics at AARP. People are always looking for more information. So in June, we'll be having 3 ice cream nights, one in Manchester, one in Bethlehem, and one in Laconia. And people can come out that night, get a bunch of information about how to spot and stop scams, and get a free ice cream cone.
That sounds good.
Yeah,
So
yeah, very popular events for us.
Bethlehem,
Manchester, and Laconia.
and we'll be putting the dates. We'll put the dates up there, and also check out AARP New Hampshire on Facebook, or go to the website.
Which is aarp.org/nh.
Okay, AARP .org/NH. That's to go to the main website. And, you know, going to the AARP website as a whole, there's information about a ton of things there.
Everything.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, those ice cream
yeah,
events are just 3 of many events
Yeah.
that we have going on in June.
And the Speakers Bureau is just one part of the very vibrant organization that AARP is,
Absolutely.
especially in New Hampshire. And that about wraps it up, unless there's something else you think that we didn't cover about the Speakers Bureau or about AARP in New Hampshire. Anything else you want to bring up?
I don't think so, other than to say that, you know, in terms of qualifications for people, really just wanting to have fun, work with a group, be comfortable speaking, and I just can't tell you what a great experience it's been for me.
Thank you. It's been great having you, Jill. And thanks, Pam, for coming too.
Thanks, Dan.
It's been great to have you both. And until next time, this is Senior Speaks New Hampshire, and have a great day.